Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video I'll be unboxing and doing a quick hands-on review of the Samsung Galaxy M51. So guys, here's the box. Now Samsung has launched this phone in India in two variants. Base variant is priced at 25,000 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Next variant is priced at 27,000 rupees for 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. It's available online on Amazon and Samsung's official website. It's available in two colors, electric blue and celestial black, and we have the base variant with 6GB of RAM in celestial black color. Now this phone has a lot of cool features. Like, this is probably the best Samsung phone ever launched under 25,000 rupees. For starters, it has a massive 7000 mAh battery. This is the first smartphone in India to come with a 7000 mAh battery, and that's a really huge deal. It supports fast charging and also comes with a 25-watt power adapter inside the box, which is another huge thing. It has a Super AMOLED Plus Infinity O display, a Snapdragon 730G processor. Literally all the cool stuff that you can imagine are on this phone. This is hands down one of the best phones launched in 2020. So without any further delays, let's get on with the unboxing. By the way, here's a quick look at the packaging itself. On the front, we have a quick preview of how the phone looks, just like all other Samsung phones. Well, M series phones. At the bottom, it simply says M51. On the left side, we have the complete name, Samsung Galaxy M51. On the right side, some specs from Amazon. On the back side, it's completely plain. On the top and bottom, we have some specifications, IMEI numbers, product, box contents, and so on. Well, now let's get on with unboxing. Just a single seal. So inside the lid, we have a cardboard box. We have a SIM card ejector on the back side and just some documentation on the inside. There's no free case, which is pretty disappointing. Well, considering the phone, it's not that disappointing. Next, we have the phone itself. Let me just put that aside. Next, we have a 25-watt power adapter, and this time it comes in black to match the phone color, I guess. And this is something I really like. Usually, Samsung power adapters and charging cables always come in white, and that's pretty annoying. Next, we also get a Type-C charging cable, and the quality itself seems pretty good. So guys, these are the contents of the box. Now coming back to the phone, we also have an IMEI number sticker. So guys, this is how the black color looks on the back, and this is how the phone looks on the front. Now let's have a physical overview. On the back, this phone has a 3D curved plastic back panel with a mirror finish. Obviously, it's a fingerprint magnet and can be scratched easily. At the top, we have the quad camera setup along with a single LED flash, and at the bottom, we have the Samsung branding. On the front, we have a huge Infinity O display protected by a 2.5D curved glass. Above the display, we have the regular earpiece. Below the display, it's completely plain, and the chin is pretty small, especially considering the price and other features of this phone. Now for the sides, on the right side, we have the volume buttons along with the power button, which actually acts like a fingerprint scanner. These buttons are made of plastic, they have a nice clicky feel to them, and they are sufficiently elevated. At the top, we have the secondary microphone for noise cancellation. On the left side, we have just the SIM card tray housing two nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. Finally, at the bottom, we have the audio jack followed by the USB Type-C charging port, primary microphone, and the speaker grill. Now with all that said, this phone has a thickness of 9.5 mm and weighs 213 grams. Initial impressions, phone is kinda thick, and in terms of form factor, it fits pretty comfortably in the hand. Weight distribution is good, so phone doesn't feel all that heavy. And considering the massive battery it has, thickness and weight is acceptable. In fact, Samsung has done a great job with the battery technology, compressing the size and reducing the weight of the phone as well. So definitely no complaints over there. Now these are the complete specifications of this phone. On the rear, this phone has a quad camera setup starting off with a 5MP camera for taking portrait shots, a 64MP primary camera with Sony IMX682 sensor, followed by a 12MP ultra wide angle camera and a 5MP macro camera. For selfies, it has a 32MP camera with f2.2 aperture. On the front, it has a massive 6.7-inch Super AMOLED Plus Infinity O display in 20:9 aspect ratio with Full HD Plus resolution. It's also protected by a 2.5D curved Corning Gorilla Glass 3. As for performance, it sports a Snapdragon 730G processor with Adreno 618 GPU, with 6 GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 128 GB of storage. It also has a dedicated SD card slot that supports up to 512 GB of expandable memory. Finally, powering this device is a 7000 mAh battery that supports fast charging and comes with a 25-watt power adapter inside the box. You can charge this phone completely from 0 to 100% under 2 hours, which is really great considering the huge battery size. Now let me turn on the phone and set it up and come back to you in a second. So this is how the phone looks once we turn it on and set it up. This is our default home screen, and here's the app drawer, and these are all the applications that come pre-installed. There is quite a bit of bloatware, but we can uninstall most of these applications. Now let's check out the about page. This phone is running One UI Core version 2.1 based on Android 10, and right out of the box we got the August security patch, which is pretty good. Now as for the storage, out of that 128 GB of space, we get about 105 GB of space for our user apps and user data. And as for the RAM, out of that 6 GB of RAM, we get about 3.4 GB of RAM free right out of the box, which should be great for multitasking. Now let's check out the camera interface. So right now we are using the primary camera, and you can switch to the wide angle camera using this toggle over here. And now we are using the wide angle camera. We also have scene optimizer, that's AI mode for the Samsung phones. We also have this feature called motion photo, and you can enable or disable it from here. This allows us to take a small video every time you take a picture. On the left side we have the single take feature, which is like a flagship feature from Samsung phones, where you need to just record for a few seconds and your phone will automatically crop images, select the best images, apply filters and give you a bunch of images and videos. So if you're in a gathering and want to take a lot of pictures at the same time with the best moments, you can give this feature a try. It works really well. Now on the right side we have the video recording mode. On this phone we can also record video in 4K resolution. We can record video with the primary camera or with the wide angle camera. And this phone also has super steady mode, and you can enable it from here. And once you enable it, footage will be much more stable. By the way, in super steady mode, your phone will be using the wide angle camera, so footage quality will not be as good as the primary camera. Now besides that, we also have AR Doodle here, and if you go to the more section, these are all the extra features that are available. Now firstly we have macro mode. This phone has a dedicated 5 megapixel macro camera, so it allows us to take pretty cool macro shots. Besides that, we also have the live focus mode, which is portrait shots for the rear camera, slow motion, super slow motion, hyperlapse, and you also have AR zone, which has a lot of cool features related to augmented reality. So this phone definitely has a lot of camera related features. Now let's check the front facing camera. Now this is the interface for the front facing camera. By default, front camera is cropped a bit, but if you use this toggle, we'll be able to use the entire camera sensor. And even for the front camera, we have the motion photo feature over here. So every time you take a picture, it records a small part as video. I'll show you a quick sample. So this is the video that has been recorded while I took the picture. Now you can save this as a video, you can crop it, you can edit it as well. On the left side, once again, we have the selfie take feature, which records a few seconds as video and crops all the images and videos. Next, we have video recording for the front camera. Using the front camera, we can record video at a maximum of 1080p resolution. Next, if we go to the more section, we have the live focus mode, that's portrait selfies. We also have slow motion, super slow motion, and hyperlapse, even for the front facing camera. So if you like to record vlogs or slow motion videos using the front camera, it's gonna be great. So guys, that was the camera interface and all the camera related features, and these are some sample shots. Now let's check the speaker loudness. By the way, this phone has just a single speaker at the bottom, and if Samsung gives it stereo speakers, then you don't even have to buy a flagship. This phone alone should be good enough for most people. Now here's an audio sample. So that was the speaker loudness. It's great for ringtones, alarms, and it's great for media consumption as well. Now let's test the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up, and here we go. By the way, this phone uses the power button as a fingerprint scanner, and it's wide enough and big enough to use as a fingerprint scanner. You just need to touch it to unlock, and fingerprint scanner is super fast. But because of this default feature, sometimes there may be accidental touches, as you can see. So to fix that, you need to go to fingerprint settings, and once you're here, disable fingerprint always on. From now on, every time you touch the fingerprint scanner, it doesn't work. You need to press the fingerprint scanner to unlock. So there won't be any accidental touches. If you're on the lock screen, you can just touch it to unlock. So this is something I would definitely recommend you to do. Now let's test the face unlock feature. I've already set it up, and here we go. In good lighting conditions, it is pretty fast. Not super fast, but it takes like a half a second, but that's manageable. It's still pretty usable. Now let's test it in low lighting conditions. Once again, it's pretty fast. Well, faster than what I've imagined. It's pretty usable even in low lighting conditions. So that was the face unlock feature. Now as for some unique stuff on this phone, first of all, we have the dark mode. You can enable it from the toggles. And once you enable it, this is how the phone looks. Stock applications like phone dialer, SMS application, and some of the Google applications like Play Store or even YouTube automatically switch to the dark theme, which once again looks pretty cool. Now besides that, we also have Dolby Atmos on this phone, but it only works for the audio jack. So if you like to listen to a lot of music or headset, it's going to improve the audio experience. We also have a new focus mode, which will stop all your distractions. We also have the new Android 10 based gestures, and to enable them, we need to go to display settings, navigation bar, and enable it from here. Now once you enable navigation gestures, you can swipe from the bottom of the screen to go home, swipe and hold for recent apps. These are your recent applications. You can swipe from the left side or right side to go back a step. Swipe diagonally from the left corner or right corner for Google Assistant. And that's Google Assistant. And besides that, you can also swipe left and right at the bottom of the screen to quickly switch between applications. Or else we can also do a gesture like this to quickly switch between the current application and the previous application. And this also works. Besides a few extra camera related features, rest of the features are pretty similar to other Samsung phones. But additionally on this phone, we also got NFC. By the way, I forgot to mention, this phone also supports reverse charging, and that's the reason why we got a Type-C to Type-C charging cable. So you can also use this phone as a power bank. Initial impressions, I've been using this phone for about half an hour, and I must say initial impressions are pretty good. Phone fits pretty comfortably in the hand. It has a bit of weight to it, but it doesn't feel too heavy. Weight distribution is good, and overall performance of the phone is surprisingly good. So far, no lag whatsoever, and I can feel that performance is pretty good. Like when you try to install applications or do some tasks, you can notice a difference in performance between this phone and some other phones which support maybe a Snapdragon 720 processor or similar processors. So at least when it comes to performance, we are not missing out on too much. So performance of this phone is pretty good. Now before I conclude, these are the benchmark scores. So guys, this is the new Samsung Galaxy M51. Honestly, the best Samsung phone that you can get under 25,000 rupees. It literally has the best of everything. Fast charging up to 25 watts, which is pretty great, especially for a Samsung phone. A Super AMOLED Infinity O display, just like the Samsung S20 or the Note 20 lineup. Well, not with the curved screen, but still pretty great display with pretty small bezels all around and a massive 7000 mAh battery. And even in terms of performance, it's not a slouch. You're getting a Snapdragon 730G processor, unlike the Exynos processor. So for a price of 25,000 rupees, this is definitely the best phone, and I'll recommend it without a second thought. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter, and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.